Welcome to The Explainer. If you're in the fintech world, you already know that going global isn't just a nice idea. It's pretty much essential. But how do you actually do it? How do you take a product that's killing it in one country and make it a winner in 10 others? Well, today we're going to break down the strategic playbook for doing just that. So let's start with the big question, the one that probably keeps a lot of fintech leaders up at night. The market is just exploding with new ideas, which is amazing. But it also means the competition is, well, absolutely fierce. So how do you possibly cut through all that noise and actually connect with customers in a brand new country? To get you that answer, we've laid out a simple 5-part game plan. First, we'll size up the challenge. Then, we'll talk about the single most important key to unlocking global reach. And after that, we'll walk through 3 core strategies: speaking the local language, building the right tech, and earning that all-important global trust. All right, let's dive in. First things first, we need to get a really clear picture of the battlefield. Because the global fintech market isn't just growing, no, it's completely rewriting the rulebook for how people all over the world handle their money. And that creates these massive opportunities, but also some pretty massive risks. And here's the honest-to-goodness truth of it all. With so many brilliant companies jumping into this space, having a great product, it's just not enough anymore. Think about it. If your potential customers in, say, Germany or Brazil can't find you when they search online, it's like you don't even exist there. Standing out has literally become a matter of survival. So, the million-dollar question is, how do you make sure you get found? The answer isn't just another line item in your marketing budget. It's a really powerful strategic key. You can think of it as your digital passport, the thing that gets you into every new market you want to conquer. And that key is what we call international SEO. It's the specific, deliberate practice of setting up your website to signal to search engines like Google that you have content that's been specifically tailored for people in different countries who speak different languages. It's about being global on purpose. And this brings up a really critical difference. You see, traditional SEO is kind of like shouting in a huge, crowded room, just hoping the right person happens to hear you. International SEO, on the other hand, is like walking right up to that person, looking them in the eye, and speaking to them in their own language. It's the difference between just broadcasting a message and actually making a connection, which leads us perfectly into our first major strategy: localization. This is the point where you have to stop thinking like a big, faceless global company and start acting like a trusted local one. Look, you can't just copy-paste your website text into a translation tool and call it a day. It doesn't work. You have to understand the culture behind the words. I mean, finance is built on trust, right? And you can't build an ounce of trust if you sound like a clueless outsider who doesn't get the local vibe. This means you have to do your homework. You got to ask the right questions. Are you using the correct term for a savings account in Mexico versus Spain? Do the people in your website's photos actually look like the local population? Heck, even a simple symbol like a check mark can mean very different things in different cultures. Getting that authenticity right is everything. Okay, on to the next piece, the technical stuff, your digital foundation. How your website is actually structured is a huge signal to search engines about how you're set up for global business. And if you get this part wrong, all that amazing, perfectly localized content we just talked about, well, it might never even get seen by the right people. So you've basically got 3 main paths you can go down. A country-specific domain, like yourbrand.de for Germany, sends a super strong local signal, but it's definitely more work to manage. A subdomain is a pretty good middle-of-the-road option, and a subdirectory is often the easiest to get up and running. The right choice for you really depends on your resources and your long-term ambitions. And this little bit of code, this is the secret sauce that makes it all work. They're called hreflang tags. And you can think of them as a little note you stick in your website's code that basically says, "Hey Google, for anyone searching in German while they're in Germany, show them this page. But for people searching in French up in Canada, show them that page instead." It's your website's own personal GPS. But it's not just about the structure, right? Your site has to perform, and perform flawlessly everywhere. A page that takes forever to load in a new market, That kills your credibility instantly. And with so much of finance happening on phones now, especially in emerging markets, being perfectly mobile-friendly isn't just a nice-to-have, it's an absolute must. All right, so you're speaking their language, your tech foundation is solid as a rock. Now for the final piece of the puzzle, authority. You have to prove to each new market that you're a credible, trustworthy player that they can count on. So how do you do that? Well, a huge part of it comes down to this: backlinks. When a well-respected financial blog in Italy or a big tech publication in Japan links to your website, they're basically giving you a public thumbs up. Search engines see these links as a massive vote of confidence, which skyrockets your ranking and, more importantly, your trust with actual human beings. And listen, this isn't just some abstract theory. You just have to look at the giants in the industry. Companies like Revolut and Wise didn't just stumble into becoming global household names. No, they meticulously localized their websites, they laser-focused on region-specific keywords, and they created content that spoke directly to what people in each market needed. And that's what earned them those top spots in local search results. Now, of course, none of this is what you'd call easy. And I know you're probably thinking about all the things that could go wrong. So let's talk about it. Let's tackle the biggest hurdles you're probably going to face on this journey. Here's the big takeaway from all this. Every single new market is its own unique puzzle. You're not just dealing with different languages. You're navigating totally different financial regulations, different ways people search for things, and really deeply ingrained cultural ideas about money. This isn't just a marketing project. It's a deep, strategic dive into local business intelligence. And that brings us right back to where we started. Right now, at this very moment, potential customers all over the globe are searching for the exact solutions that you offer. By speaking their language, by building a site that's ready for the world, and by earning their local trust, you can make sure that they find you. The real question isn't whether your audience is out there. It's whether you're ready to do the work to meet them where they are.